This is the exact text conversation I had with a girl after our first date. I'm gonna show you all the screenshots so you can see how I went from this, where she's barely interested, to this, where she's extremely eager to meet up again. So, quick bit of context. And this conversation begins shortly before our first date, right? Where she's being a little difficult to make plans with. So you guys can really see how I turn things around. So, begins here, right? She's being a little difficult here. She says, a challenge is always fun. I say, yes, even more fun in person. She doesn't respond. Wait 2 days and I hit her with one of my favorite takeaways. If you're too nervous, I'd understand. She's like, well, who said I was too nervous? I say, well, you keep disappearing on me, right? And I kind of playfully call her out because she has been being difficult up until this point. Keep in mind, we haven't met yet. She says, well, I do apologize. I am acting like a flaky bitch. I say, yeah, why is that? I have absolutely no reason at all, but this time I was out in Fort Lauderdale enjoying normal life. Now I'm back in Brickell. Sometimes, especially leading up into the first date, you have to be persistent because girls today, especially attractive ones, they have a lot of distractions, right? So I say, okay, so if I invite you to come have a drink with me, will you show up? So this is a really good text to send to a girl who's been flaky, right? You're basically getting her to recommit to meeting up with you. She says, why don't you try inviting me over for a drink? Then you will know. So I say, her first name, would you like to come join me for a drink on my romantic balcony? She says, well, you would have to be a bit more specific as to when you would like me to join you for a drink on your romantic balcony. So here's just logistics. I say, how's tomorrow night? She says, that should be good. I say, perfect. Say 9, 8-ish. Are you asking me if I can do earlier? I feel like 8-ish would be better, I guess, lol. So here's just like logistics. Then after we confirm for 8:30, I say, Rhaegar, my dog, is excited to meet you. And then here she gives me a little bit of a issue, right? She says, so I'm not flaking right now, but I'm totally exhausted from kayaking today. I just got too much sun, lol. Want to just come here. So she's inviting me to her place, which is a little bit suboptimal. It's a bit better if the girl comes to your place, but obviously I'm not going to complain. So here I respond in a little bit of a flirty way to kind of see where I'm at in this point. I say, oh, want me to rub you down with some aloe vera? She says, lol, yes. So here you can see that basically the date is happening. This is the first day walking. Oh, what are you wearing? Adidas suit, oh baby, right? So basically here we meet up. We have our first date at her place and I do not close. We get as far as a make out, but she's on her period and she's really adamant about not having sex on her period. Plus she says her skin hurts, blah, blah, blah. So we get as far as a make out, right? And so here is basically the day after our first date. She mentioned that her AC was broken. So I re-engaged her with, how's that AC doing? And here you can see she's being very like short-worded with me, right? She's just like, all fixed. I say, that's good. Rhaegar was worried. How nice of him, right? She's being a little sarcastic here, a little snarky. So here I follow up with, yeah, he also said we should rub you down with some more cream soon because I did help her apply some cream on her, but it wasn't as sexual as it sounds. She's like, I highly doubt he said that, but okay. So here, obviously, she's being sassy. So what we need to do is we need to address the elephant in the room. So I just say, are you going to be sassy with me now? Haha, no sassiness. Notice how things markedly improve. Like the vibe improves right after I call her out, which is what you want to do, but it has to be appropriate in a playful way. So here, I'm trying to make the second date happen now. I say, good, what are you doing tonight? Just chilling with my friend tonight, kind of in a meh kind of mood, right? I say, sorry to hear that. She says, tomorrow's another day. How was your day? I say, good, been working on new videos. So here you can see this alternating between like normal conversation and also like flirting talk, right? She says, new videos, how interesting. So at this point, she knows I'm a YouTuber, told her that on our date. I say, yes, I'll tell you all about over our next bottle of wine, right? So I don't want to just become her texting buddy and just tell her everything about myself over text. So that's why kind of when there's something that she wants to know, it's good to just be like, yeah, I'll tell you all about it over our date or on our date, right? Kind of use that as almost like leverage to set up the next meetup, so as to speak. She says tomorrow. I say, yes, tomorrow night. So then the day of the date, I re-engage. I say, yo, sexy. She says, hola, shitty weather outside again. Want to come to my place around 8:30. Now, on the first date, we had agreed that the second date was going to be at my house, right? And so I say, oh, I believe this time you're coming to my place. She says, haha, nope. Next time I'll come over. I promise. So here I kind of get into a little bit of frame battle with her about it. I say, what's the difference between this time and next time? She's like, I have a few things to do. I say, okay, let's do tomorrow night then. I won't be free until later tonight anyway. Now, the reason I say that is because I don't want to plan a date when she's busy running around. We're only going to have half an hour to an hour. Plus, again, I want her to come to my place because it's going to increase the odds of me closing on the second date, which I wasn't able to do on the first one. She says, well, someone really doesn't want to leave their condo. So here I'm basically just teasing her. I understand what she's getting at, but I say, are you talking about yourself in the third person? Like kind of witty, I'm kind of flipping it on her. She says, oh, LOL, just talking about you. I'm just gonna make some dinner now. You're more than welcome to swing by later if you want. Now look, I could have come over there, but honestly, I would just rather have her go to my place at this point. Plus, also I want her to be a little bit more invested, which is going to increase the likelihood again of sexy time happening. I say, my place has parking, yours doesn't. Come over tomorrow if you prefer. The massage oil will be ready. She says, fair enough. On another note, how crazy is the lightning? I say, yeah, it's quite a show. Driving home today was intense. Really pretty. And then so the next day she says, hey, how's your day going? So that's a good side. Now she's the one that's double texting me. I say, good, just getting a workout in. How about you? Just taking care of some stuff. So tonight I say, yes, you're coming over. She's like, yes, I will, lol, under one condition. Do tell. Come pick me up, please. It's so humid outside. So she is willing to come over, but I have to pick her up. This is a reasonable compromise, especially since she leaves like 7 minutes from where I live, so it's not a big deal. I say, all right, I can do that. And here we have our second date. You can see I'm here, we're car, blah, blah, blah. So here the second date happens, and I do not close on the second date either. It's very rare that that happens. Most of the time, I either close on the first or second date. But with her, she was still on her period because this was only like 2 or 3 days later, and she was just really adamant about not having sex on her period. I think I got like a hand job on the second date. It was something like that. We went further, but we definitely did not have sex on the second date, right? I remember that clearly. So here I re-engage her. I say, how's life at the whatever place she was staying at today? She's like, hey, haven't been home all day, just walking back home now from my friend's place. So I say, busy girl, indeed, how was your day? It was good, been working mostly. Are the nails gone? So this is kind of an inside joke, and that's what you want to do, right? When you've met up with a girl once, you can just use some inside joke, inside references. So this is referencing back that on the date, she had like sharp nails, and I made a joke about that. So she says, yes, nails done, teeth are so clean, took myself out to a bunch of mimosas. You had a big day there, although I did enjoy your long nails running down my back. So again, I'm alternating between just like kind of basic banter and also some light sexualization. But because we haven't had sex yet, I'm not going to be too sexual yet. She says, I'm sure they can still do some damage. I guess we'll find out soon. So I'm setting a pretty flirty sexual frame. She says, yes, we will. How's Saturday or Sunday? Sorry, knocked out last night, Sunday night. I say, see you then. She sends me a smiling emoji, and then she re-engages me 2 days later, right? So you don't want to be in a rush to always be the one messaging the girl first. Sometimes it's okay to just let the conversation die for a day or two. She says, bonjour, how's your day going? Which means hello in French. I say, good, just preparing for a video. See you later tonight. She says, yeah, around 8:30. Are you at your place? I think the cops have closed the highways. This was during COVID era, or like a little bit after that, where there was like the protest going on. She's like, are there helicopters everywhere? I say, nah, Brickell's been pretty chill. It's mostly downtown. That's crazy. She's like, yeah, except for the protest yesterday, lol. But yeah, it's not as bad. So there's a curfew at 8 p.m. tonight. So here I just say I can pick you up again. Let's do 10 though. I'll still be working earlier. Not to rush, but I would feel more comfortable with 9. So here I make a joke. Do you turn into a pumpkin after midnight on Sundays? She says yes. So here again, her objection is that she's worried about violating curfew or whatever, which was never taken seriously in Miami. So I say, don't worry, this is only for people rioting, causing trouble. I was out walking regular 3 a.m. last night, but either way, I'll pick you up. Okay, thanks. 9-ish, please. I won't be ready at 9. I have to do a podcast. I'll be done at 10. So this is just me legitimately being busy. She's like, alrighty. So here she's telling me she's changed buildings. Are you leaving soon? I say, sorry, just finished the podcast. Leaving now. Come down. And then so we have our third date, and I pick her up. We go back to my place, and this time we do hook up, right? So sex does happen. And so notice what changes. This time, after after the third date where we hook up, she sends me the first text back, the day after the date, or actually later on that night. Says, tonight was fun. There's a few other things I would like to do. Oh, I say, definitely tell me about these things. Well, I'll give you one little hint. You'll have to control yourself. I guess I busted a nut pretty fast. I'm not really sure. I don't get that reference. I say, I'm listening. I never sent my message last night. I totally knocked out. So you can see the conversation becoming a little bit more sexual now that we've hooked up. I say, lol, tell me about this message. I think it's better if I just do it in person. Oh my God, I can't believe my mouth is still frozen. I think the dentist gave me way too much anesthesia. So here I make a joke. I say I told him to do that. So again, what I'm doing is alternating sexualization, normal banter, and humor, essentially, those 3 things. And that's what you really do when you went on a date with a girl, make some inside jokes, have some normal banter, right? And then move things forward, right? It really doesn't have to be anything crazy. She says, lol, thanks. Took me 30 minutes to just eat a small cheeseburger. I say, oh, I'm sure you'll be back to your normal chatty self in no time. She was quite chatty, so that's where I'm getting that from. She's like, I know, I'm just being dramatic, LOL. So here, because she said she wasn't feeling well with the dentist, I say, how are you feeling? Yes, if a girl says she's not feeling well, it's okay to text her that. She's like, better, super wet right now. So I say, are you trying to turn me on? I went boating today and got caught in the rain. I was wet before, lol, but I just took a super hot shower. Oh, and what happened in the super hot shower? So again, I kind of keep a lot of the sexual tension over text now that we've hooked up. She says, lol, don't you worry about it. And then I just don't like her message, I guess, and she says, lol, excuse me. So she's investing a lot more in the conversation now. I say, your excuse. She says, ha, don't poke the bear. I say, but the bear is so fun to tease. So yeah, it's very playful, you know, flirty banter. You do enjoy teasing me, don't you? Not gonna lie, me too. Even more so with my lips. Definitely with the lips, right? So yeah, it's very sexual at this point. I say, yes, let's make that happen soon again. She's like, I was just thinking about you. I say, oh, really? Let's chill tomorrow night, preferably not 11 p.m. Lol. I say, lol, I'll try to finish by 9, thanks. And here she's the one that's confirming the date now, right? Because now she's a lot more invested. And that usually will happen if you have sex with a girl. She becomes more invested. That's kind of when the dynamic flips and she's the one that's chasing you more than her. I mean, you should never really be chasing the girl, but that's kind of when the dynamic starts to really shift. She says salute, which means hi. Still gonna finish around 9. I say we, and then bam, you can see we have a 4th date. And then basically, you know, we hook up on the 4th date, right? And then here you can just see some more, you know, basically banter after that. She's the one that's hitting me up now first. She's like, hey, how was your day? By the way, my ass cheek is sore. I say, it was good. Oh, I wonder how that happened. Yeah, I wonder, LOL. And then here she's trying to get the, you know, the 5th meetup. She's like, still meeting up tomorrow, right? You can see that like things are really changing here. Like she's investing a lot more. She's the one that's pushing for the meet, and you can kind of see that here. And yeah, basically that's it. I wound up seeing this girl, I think 1 or 2 more times or 3 more times. She had to leave because she was here for work for temporarily, and then she was leaving. She was going on a boat or whatever. Long story. But anyway, so yeah, you can see the dynamic massively flips once you hook up with a girl. But in the early stages, it was pretty difficult. Like if I had just given up, I probably would not have gotten the 2nd or 3rd date. So you have to be persistent in the beginning. And again, like I said, you alternate between just kind of being flirty, using inside reference. Once things become more sexual, then you can do a lot more sexual innuendos and make sexual references. And you keep it fun, but also keep moving it forward. Don't become her texting buddy. You always have to, at some point, you know, after going a little bit of back and forth, you have to go for the meetup. All right, hopefully you guys found this video valuable. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and hit the bell for notification, because otherwise my videos will not show up in your feed. Also, if you want to find out how good your texting skills are, take my free text game quiz. Link for that's going to be in the description and pinned comment. So check that out. It's going to tell you exactly where you are in terms of your texting. So check that out. Thank you guys. And until next time.